Hey, Tom, is this you, the call-in listener, by any chance?
Nope.
I don't really
Good
understand.
evening, everyone. Notice is hereby given that due to the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and recent executive orders issued by the governor, the Town of Islip Zoning Board of Appeals hearing scheduled for Tuesday, October 27, 2020 at 6 p.m. will be held electronically via Zoom webinar instead of an in-person public hearing and will be streamed live over the internet. Dated 10/21/2020, John M. Lorenzo, Chairman. First application tonight is number 611-20, Andrew W. Steffens, permission to erect a one-story addition, 16 feet by 30.6 feet, leaving a second front yard of 14.6 feet instead of the required 22 feet, and to relocate a 6-foot fence to the property line, not having a required setback of 10 feet, Residence A District, northwest corner of Bishop Lane, number 154, and Elk Lane, Holbrook, New York. Is anyone here for the applicant?
He is here. I just was moving him in and my screen changed. Just give me 1 second. The applicant is here, but I'm moving in his representative right now.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good
Hello.
afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Good, thank you.
Just name and address for the record, please.
My name is Andrew Steffens. I live at 154 Bishop Lane in Holbrook.
Great. I believe you have a representative too, correct? Coming in?
Correct. I have an expediter. His name is Mitch. Should be present. Mitch Brendel.
Yes, can everybody hear me?
There he is.
Mitch, how you doing, bud?
Good evening, board. Good evening, chairman. Doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
Just name and address for the record, please.
Mitch Brendel, Integrity Expediting, 1717 North Ocean Avenue, Suite F. That's in Medford, New York, 11763.
Great. What's going on? State your case.
Yep, agent on behalf of the applicant seeking permission to erect a one-story addition, 16 by 30.6 on the side of the house for a garage. And it is considered the secondary front yard due to an unopened Elk Lane that is present next to the property.
Elk Lane's not open as per the survey. Great. And you have a fence on the technical second front yard property line, but again, in a not open road, correct?
Correct. That is proposed to be moved onto the property line.
Correct. Do we have, Deidre, is there a radio, what's it called, map?
Aerial.
Thank you, Ariel. Sorry, long day. That's our dwelling right there. Okay, Deidre, I'm assuming planning has no objections to this?
Yeah, no objections.
All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Chairman, I move that we grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a great night, guys.
Thank
You as
you.
well. Have a good night, board.
Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time.
Next application number 612-20, Melissa L. Hicks, permission to erect portico 4 feet by 7 feet, leaving a front yard of 21 feet instead of permitted encroachment setback of 30 feet, Residence A District, northwest corner of Manhattan Boulevard, number 81, and 6th Street, Islip Terrace, New York. Anyone here for the applicant?
Yes.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Casalino. How are you tonight?
Good, how's everybody doing?
Good. Name and address for the record, please.
Gennaro Cozzolino, 2125 Deer Park Avenue, Deer Park, New York, 11729.
State your case.
We're requesting relief from the board to build a 4x7 front portico. The proposed portico requires a variance for front yard setback. Requesting to build at 21 feet from permitted 30 feet, a difference of 9 feet. Proposed addition complies with all other zoning requirements.
And according to the survey, the house does not hold the 30-foot either front yard setback, correct?
Correct, Mr. Chairman.
All righty. Never to be enclosed, this portico?
No.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wex, I'll take a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to grant the application with the provision that the portico never be enclosed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a great night, sir.
I'm up next.
Oh, all right. Sorry about that.
I have two more.
All right, next application number 614-20, Caitlin M. Jeffis and Colleen M. Bass. Permission to erect a second story and one-story additions, leaving a floor area ratio of 29.5% instead of the required 25%. Residence B District, south side of Helen Street, number 194, 270 feet west of Coates Avenue, Holbrook, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Yes, I'm here, but I think you skipped 613-20.
I will go back to it then.
Okay, very good. Again, Gennaro Cozzolino, 2125 Deer Park Avenue, Deer Park, New York, 11729. For the applicants, Caitlin Jeffis and Colleen Bass of 194 Helen Street, Holbrook. We're requesting relief from the board to build a 10.66 by 22.5 foot second floor addition and a 8 by 21.75 first floor rear addition. The proposed additions require variance for FAR, requesting 29.5% from permitted 25%, a difference of 4.5%. Proposed additions comply with all other zoning requirements.
Great. Although the code says 25%, the board sees up to 30% every week here in IC.
Yes,
So you're at 29.5. I think you're right on.
correct.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application?
We have a neighbor who I have moved into the panel. And we also have the applicant who recently had her hand up and I just moved her in. Sorry, we had a little confusion with the order.
Okay.
So both the applicant and the adjacent property owner are here. You'll just have to unmute yourselves if you would like to speak. Oh,
I
there
am
we
the
go.
applicant. I just was having a difficult time getting on.
Great. Sorry about that. It was last second we got you in there.
And
Okay.
there are the cat and arrows, I see.
Yes. Oh, hi.
Hi.
How are you? Would you like to say anything? If you do, name and address for the record, please.
Sure.
Colleen Jeffis, 194 Helen Street in Holbrook, New York, 11741. But it might have my main name, Bass, on there.
Sure. Yep. That's okay. Would you like to say anything for the record, or are you okay with your application?
I'm okay with the application.
Mary, is there someone
That's
else?
the applicant. That's the applicant. The Catanzaros are the neighbors.
Okay. Are they?
Yes,
Hi.
hello.
We have someone else raising their hand too, Mayor Lisa Straub. Lauren Straub, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Hi, I apologize. Name and address for the record, please.
We are Mike and Mary Ann Catanzaro, 202 Helen Street in Holbrook, New York, 11741.
How are you tonight?
How are you guys?
Great. So you're here to speak on this application?
Yeah, we're just trying to better understand what they're proposing to do exactly. I know according to the floor plan, but, and how, we would be affected over here living right next door.
The only thing they're in front of us for is something called floor area ratio. The code in the town of Islip in this zone allows 25%. We, as a board, always fluctuate a little bit and allow up to 30% on all of our applications in the town of Islip. So they're at 29.5%. So because they're bending the code a little bit, for lack of a better term, they need to come in front of the board. But it's granted all the time. On
Okay.
that. They go-
Is that code just reflective on the back part that's being extended, or what's being put on the second story?
It's calculated with the size of the property compared to the floor area of the dwelling. That's how the percentage is calculated.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
Did I lose you with that? Because I lost myself there for a moment. So you understand what I was saying?
Yeah, no, I was just trying to see if it was only pertaining to the floor space in the back of the house, as opposed to in addition to the second story that's being added.
Yeah. If they added, for argument's sake, more floor space and went over what our threshold would be, then if that was towards the rear of the house, then that would pertain to that. But we don't know what it, as a board, we don't know what it pertains to. Just a calculation at this moment of that. I'm sure planning could figure it out, or someone could figure it out for us, but.
Okay, yeah, we're just concerned because we're so close to everybody else's property already, so we just understand it better.
So the part that's going to be extended on the first floor is going to be on the other side of the house, not on the side close to you.
Yeah. But the garage side that's going up is on our side, correct?
Yes.
That's what we were referring to.
Okay, that's going to be a master suite. So there's going to be 2 windows on that side, and that's it.
Yeah, and they're not here seeking any side yard relief. They're only here seeking floor area ratio relief. If they were encroaching too far into the easterly side property and encroaching closer to you, they would need relief on that, but they don't need relief on that with this application. They're within the code.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
All right. Anyone else wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Chairman, move to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Next application number 613-20, Christopher and Christina Thomas, permission to erect second-story addition, leaving a side yard of 13.9 feet instead of the required 14 feet, and total side yards of 27.9 feet instead of 28 feet, and to erect a roof over porch additions resulting in new dwelling having floor area ratio of 25.5% instead of permitted 25%, and to leave patio having a side yard of 0.6 of a foot instead of the required 4 feet. Residence B District, north side of 45th Street, number 7, 91.3 feet east of Comac Road, Islip.
Good evening.
Good evening, Gennaro Cozzolino for the homeowners, Christopher and Christina Thomas of 7 45th Street, East Islip. We're requesting relief from the board to build a 25.3 by 47.1 second floor addition with a 20 by 6 foot front covered porch. The proposed additions require variances for side yard setback, requesting to build at 13.9 from permitted 14 feet, a difference of 0.1. Variance for total side yard setback, requesting to build at 27.9 from permitted 28 feet, a difference of 0.1 feet. And also variance for FAR, requesting 25.5% from permitted 25%, a difference of 0.5%. The existing patio on grade requires a side yard setback, requesting to maintain 0.6 feet from permitted 4 feet, a difference of 3.4 feet. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, sir. What you're in the application is asking for, it seems de minimis. The 0.6 feet instead of required 4, that's a small portion of the side yard property line on there. I'm assuming Deirdre from planning, there's no objection?
No objections. There's precedent for all the relief being asked.
Great. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wexler, I'll take a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion that we grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you,
Have a
guys.
good evening.
Take care.
Next application number 615-20, M&P Kramer and M. Ryan, trustees. Awixa Irrevocable Trust, permission to leave two-story addition 29.2 feet by 35.9 feet, having a side yard of 18.65 feet instead of required 25 feet, and total side yards of 58.84 feet instead of the required 60 feet. Residence AAA District, east side of Awixa Avenue, number 125, 3,098.51 feet south of Montauk Highway, Bay Shore. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
We have Mike Belford. Mike, I've just asked you to start your video. And you may have to unmute yourself. So look for the little red microphone symbol and click it. There we go. Hi, Mike.
You still have to unmute yourself, Mr. Belford. Well, you're a handsome man. We can't tell you what you're saying.
Mike, you still have to mute yourself on the button. You see the mute button in the bottom, probably bottom left-hand corner on the screen where you say the video, it should say stop video. There
Can you
you
hear
go.
me now?
There
Yeah,
you
now
go.
we got
All right. Okay. Good evening, everybody.
you. Good evening.
Thank you for hearing this application. This is a house that was built in 1949. It was a one-story house. And in 1982, they proceeded to put a second story on a portion of the house, on the north side of the house. And in 1949, the zoning in that area was AA. And there came a time, and I'm not sure exactly when, Aldo couldn't figure out the date himself, but maybe you fellows do know, that it was upzoned to AAA. And the requirement would now be for a second story to have 25 feet. And so we have the 18 feet that was approved, 18.65 that was approved at the time of the building of the main house. So, you know, the, just a minute. And the total side yard is I believe will be de minimis. It's 58.84 feet instead of the required 60. I have, I noted that the house next door, I don't know that I sent some pictures in up to the north that has just been put up or is in the process of being put up. They also have an 18-foot setback from the side yard. So does this all sound familiar to you, gentlemen? In terms of the AA to AAA?
Yeah, there's many areas that there's a few areas that happen to it in town of Islip, not many. Deirdre, do we have, do we know the date that this was upzoned into AAA? This area?
Not too sure about that, but there is quite a few precedent for side yards that are much smaller than the 18 feet being requested. There's like 14 feet, 15 feet. So it seems like it might have been.
It's 1961.
1961.
And the second story addition, it did not, you know, encroach any further. You know, it's on the same line as the original house.
Right.
So,
Right.
Mr. Belford, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Peter Kramer, is that Peter Kramer, the lawyer?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Barry Kramer is the son, and he.
One of them's on. It's a Peter Kramer. I just didn't know if it was a lawyer who I've known many years. So
I don't think that's his home, Vinny.
no. Well, you
No.
know, could be an investment property, right?
This is
Oh, go ahead.
Peter Kramer, and I'm not that lawyer.
But you are a lawyer.
No, I'm not.
Oh, come on, admit it.
No.
You're in good company. You can admit it.
Guilty as not charged. Nope.
Great.
Thank you. I'm sorry,
Right.
Mr. Chairman.
Does anyone
That's all right.
who should be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion.
Motion to grant the application.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Application granted, Ms. Belford. Have a great night.
Good job, Mike.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Mary.
Nice to hear from you,
Thank you
Mike.
very much.
Nice to see you, Vin, and John, and Chris.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
Be well. Thank you very much.
Hi, Mike.
All right. Our next application, number 616-20, Beach Bliss LLC. Permission to raise and relocate dwelling, leaving a front yard of 21.5 feet instead of the required 25 feet. To erect a second story addition, 9.7 feet by 8 feet, leaving a front yard of 21.5 feet. Second story deck, 8 feet by 4.7 feet, leaving a front yard of 16.8 feet. Staircase to second story deck, leaving a rear yard of 22 feet instead of the required 25 feet each. Erect decking, leaving a rear yard of 10 feet instead of the required 15 feet. To install above ground pool, leaving a rear yard of 18.5 feet instead of the required 25 feet. To install raised sanitary system, leaving front and side yards of 5 feet instead of the required 15 feet each. Residence AAA-B District, west side of Frigate Roadway, number 630, 850 feet south of Central Roadway, Corneal Estates, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Good evening. I'm Glenn Graham with Graham Associates, 1981 Union Boulevard, Bay Shore, New York. I'm representing the applicants this evening.
How are you tonight, sir?
Doing well. How's everybody?
Great, thank you.
I'll
That's it,
start
yes.
off by just giving you a quick overview of this property. It's oceanfront. It is also on a paper street, which is Frigate Roadway. Access is gained through Surf Road to the east through an easement. It's also a rather large parcel. It's 28,000 square feet. It's also adjacent to the coastal erosion hazard line. Even though it's a very large parcel, we are shoehorned up to the north to kind of build everything that we want to do. It's an existing home. We're looking to elevate it, put a modest addition, including decking and pool. And then the highlighted areas represent the relief sought, where we're seeking a front yard setback of 21.5 instead of 25. That would be right here. We're also seeking a second story deck, which is this walkway. It's going to be an upside down house, so we need a walkway to get into the house. That's at 16.8 instead of 25. We also have an existing roof deck with a circular staircase. That's on the west side of the property. That has a setback of 22 instead of 25. This deck, also on the west side, is 10 instead of 15. And finally, the pool, 18.5 instead of 25. What I'd like the board to note, though, is this is a new pool, and we maintain the 60-foot front yard setback to the east. So if we sought relief from the 60, which the board, I think, has granted as low as 31, we wouldn't even be requesting the 18.5 setback. There's also an existing sanitary system here on the west side of the property, the east side of the property, that's going to be replaced with the low nitrogen system. That system, we're asking for a 5-foot setback instead of 15. However, it's buried. That will not be visible to the public. It's all right with you. I'll share my screen just to give you a little bit more information. One sec here. Share screen. Here's an aerial view of the property. As you can see, it's oceanfront. This is a significant case history in the Cornell Summer Club area.
I don't see.
Can't see your aerial.
I don't see aerial at all.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Am I the only one? I may be the only one.
No, you're right,
Didn't hit
Jim.
No.
Sorry, guys. Can everyone see that now?
There you
Yep.
go.
Now we got it.
So this is the subject parcel, oceanfront. Frigate Roadway is a paper road, which I mentioned before, and access is gained through surf. In this whole area, Summer Club and Cornell, there's significant case history granting similar relief to all the cases I just stated. I did do a summary, which I presented through email to the board that you may review, or if you wish, I can go through everyone, but there's significant case precedent for all the setback variances we're asking for.
Are they all within a 500-foot radius?
Yes, they are, Mr. Wexler. 500 actually extends out further to the north, and you'd find we'd have even more case history. The further we go, it just trickles across. This whole area is.
Why didn't you go further to the south? That was a joke. That was a
Good
joke.
question. One thing of particular note, we do have a neighbor, we have letters of support from 3 of the neighbors, both west, south, and east. The neighbor to the north reached out to us and had some concerns about us blocking his view. We are lifting the home. However, one of the variances we're doing is to move the house slightly east, which would help his view. This is probably the best view he has from the southwest. By granting the 21.5 front yard, which is Frigate, that would allow us to move the house about 3 feet east, which would help his view. We also did inquire, this is a paper street. We checked with planning. The neighbors here to the south were interested in getting the paper road abandoned, but we were advised by planning that that was not possible. So does the board have any questions?
Deidre, any, the precedent that Mr. Graham has emailed in, I'm assuming is all, you've checked all that and everything's
I did not receive his precedent, but I did find my own precedent.
so there is precedent for all the relief sought? Okay. I believe, Mary, does some people that would like to be heard? Does anyone wish to be heard in this application?
Yes,
All right.
Yes.
Name and address for the record, please.
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep. Name and address
Okay.
for the record, please.
My name is Janice Whalen. My office is at 23 Green Street, Suite 302, Huntington, New York. I represent the Zahler family who reside, they're year-long residents, and they live immediately to the north of the property. We certainly do not wish to shut down development plans, but we seek to understand this and bring something to the court's, to the board's attention that you may not have considered. When this parcel was created in 2001 by BZA decision 02501, the lot was represented to be 10,000 square feet. And I have a subdivision map of John Mayer, which shows it was a 10,000 square foot lot. That square footage was backed up by the CO, which was issued in 2003, which shows an FAR of 27.92%. Effectively, what's happening with this application that's not revealed in the code, in the call of the meeting, is that the house is doubling in size to 5,800 square feet. And what the applicant is stating is that they don't own 10,000 square feet, they own 28,000 square feet. And what my inquiry is about is that effectively, the bulk of this house is still sitting on the same 10,000 square feet, which is 10 feet from my client's property. The property that they're claiming to have ownership over is beach property, which is specifically accepted under the definition of lot in the Islip Town zoning code. In addition,
Can I interrupt you a second, Ms. Whalen? I understand the point you're making. So are you saying that the area south of their property, which is the dune, and it
correct,
goes from the seaward toe of the dune to the landward toe of the dune, which is about 10,000 square feet?
actually, it's about 18,000 square feet.
All right.
Because if
okay.
they are saying that they have
I don't know if I
28
finished a question. My
I'm sorry.
question is, are they counting that in the total?
Yes, they are.
And what's the total of the square footage of the property?
Well, that's a question that I would like for us to discuss. In
Well, no,
2001,
hang on. Wait. It's not a discussion time. Can you tell me what the square footage from the Atlantic Ocean line to the side that is to the north? What are the
I think
boundaries of the property?
the Islip code subtracts beach
You won't
area.
tell me that, you won't tell me the square footage?
I think it's
I didn't
10,000
ask
square
you
feet.
the Islip code. I didn't
Can I
ask you a
just,
lot
can
of
I make
things.
one more point, Mr.
No,
Wexler?
can you answer my question? It's
I
a
think it's
positive
10,000
integer.
square feet.
How many?
10,000 square feet.
The entire boundary is 10,000 square feet?
I think that the lot that we're looking at is 10,000
No,
square
I'm
feet.
asking you the entire. Why can't you answer just a basic question? What is the entire square footage of the property? If you don't know, say I don't know. Or say I don't want to tell you. I'm being coy. What is
I'm
it?
not being coy. I'm trying to get my argument out.
All right. I don't.
Can I just finish
forget
my
about it.
point?
Hang on. Wait. I'll just measure it myself. It looks like it's 100 by 100 by 285.
Mr. Wexler, it's 28,860. It's on the proposed site.
28,860.
Yeah,
I don't know why
zoning
you
has
didn't tell
agreed
us
with
that,
us
but
that that's the size of this lot.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Can I make my point? I have one more
One at a
point to
time.
make.
No, let Miss Whalen make her point.
Okay.
Wait, I wasn't
In-
finished asking questions. So hang on a second. So we
Okay.
have I'm just trying to figure this out. You want to have a discussion. I want to figure out something. So the lot size, and I'm not saying what's buildable, what's not, it's 28,860. Yes?
I
Yes.
don't agree with that. And if you let me
What
make my
size do you
second
give me a
point, I'll
number?
let you know why.
What? No, just tell me what number do you think it is?
I think it's
Let's let
10,000.
Mr. Wexler,
What?
Mr. Wexler, let's let Ms. Whalen finish
No,
her argument. then we
Mr.
can-
Chairman, respectfully, I'm asking a question. I'm entitled to an answer.
If you let me make my second point, we may get to that answer.
Oh, so I have to, okay, I can't.
That's all I was saying, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Go ahead.
Okay, now the deed to the property recites the meets and bounds description for 28,000 square feet roughly. The deed specifically states that the property accepts that portion, which is the subject of a vesting order that was filed in Suffolk County in 2015. Now, I just obtained from my title company that vesting order, and I just wonder if that property should have been deducted so we could get to the real FAR of this proposal.
Well, has title of the, does the vesting order take title away from the owner?
That, you know, it says the vesting order, like it's scan it to Ms. Pissarro. It says that the property that is the subject of the vesting order is now in Suffolk County.
That's what vesting is. Vesting means that the municipality has now taken title.
Right, and I'm just trying to make that clear for the record, so
Sure.
somebody who's
Yeah,
reading it down the road.
It's a good point. And, you know, the other thing that I think that the disconnect between Mr. Wexler and Ms. Whalen is that Ms. Whalen will never say that this is a 28,000 square foot lot, because excluded from the definition of lot is everything south of that line. And that would make it 10,000 square feet. Mr. Wexler is saying that I think that there's 28,000 square feet of physical land there. But what's defined as lot under the town code, Ms. Whalen argues, is only 10,000 square feet.
That's all I was trying to establish.
Yeah, I think I got
from
it.
Ms. Whalen, but I throw in the white flag on that point.
No white flag. It's just you asking for information. I think that's the
Yeah, I guess I was entitled to it, but I guess whatever.
Okay.
So can I just?
Well, I have a
ask
question.
another
If I or random person were to purchase this property tomorrow, would I have insured title over 28,000 square feet or over 10,000 square feet?
Are you asking me?
Sure.
I believe that the title insurance would accept that portion of the property that is listed in the vesting order. And all I'm saying is that the board should consider the true totality of lot area, so you know if we should be looking at an FAR request here too.
So you're saying that if the lot area is reduced to 10,000 square feet, there's an effect on the FAR, which has not been calculated and is not before us, right?
Correct. Correct.
If I can jump in, that's where I was headed. If there's a vesting order, the municipality now has taken title, so it's not 28,000 square feet, it's 10,000 square feet. That is the buildable lot.
Right.
We're going to need that issue to be clarified before we can make a decision.
I think we need to review the vesting order, and we get that vesting order, Ms.
Yes. I have 4 pages of it. It's 130. I have my title company like pulling all these strings to get the full order, because I want the board to just see the facts, not as I interpret them, but as the vesting order interprets it.
Good luck.
Vinny, can I ask, Vinny, you were the town attorney and also Will. I think you said it. I just want to make sure I'm clear. You have dealt with it more than me. I always thought a vesting order was the municipality now takes title to the property.
You're correct.
And that's to prevent building and any sort of use of that land.
Or to enable use of the land by the municipality. Right.
And in this case, I'm guessing the municipality, the town of Islip,
County of Suffolk.
The county.
The county of Suffolk took to prevent building on that.
I would imagine so, and they may be doing a dune project. I don't know.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm reading, that it was to shore up the dune. And if you look at the Google version, you could see plugs of like dune grass planted there to shore up the dune.
We all know the dunes. Let me ask a question. If we're now looking at a 10,000 square foot buildable lot, which I'm coming to ideation that it is, what does that do to FAR? Is that what you're saying? It totally
Yes.
I think that's a
augments or
question for
changes
Aldo
FAR?
more than us.
But I think we have to review this vesting order first, because does that take that portion of the property away from the current owner, or does it just not allow it to be utilized in any building on that? So
Mr. Lorenzo, if I could respond, when the lot was created in 2001, it was represented to be 10,000 square feet. When the CO was issued in 2003, the lot was 10,000 square feet. The subdivision map refers to all that dune area as beach. So my position is that how does it not affect FAR? Like it can't be counted for purposes of nullifying an FAR request.
So Mr. Garbarino will have to opine on that, and then Mr. Bernardi will have to issue a calculation based on that.
If I can interject here, it's my understanding that the owner does own the entire lot all the way down to the ocean front.
Okay.
We've done similar cases oceanfront that have had these type lots, and the FAR was always lower based on the full size of the lot. So this is
You had lots with a vesting order taking away a part of the property?
I've never seen one in my 10 years on the
Yeah,
board.
I don't recall that, but
So let's get all,
no,
let's get all
zoning
the
did look at
documents.
this thoroughly, and that's why we arose with the variances we're seeking today.
Sure. Let's figure out what, let's get the facts in front of us, and then, I mean, Mr. Chairman, my inclination is to adjourn this until such time as we have an opportunity to look at the vesting order. Again, normally I wouldn't do this, but in the age of Zoom hearings, it's not like it could just be handed up to us to examine.
I agree with you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Mr. Pacino, I'm just looking at the survey and the diagrams, and I'm curious what the FAR would be if they did it, because the FAR right now is 27.9 according to the CO.
Right.
I wonder what the FAR would be.
You can figure it out. It'd be more than twice.
More than 27 point.
I know it's more than 27.9, but that fly around, we see high FARs.
Well, no, we should know what it is,
60%.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
You're right.
it
And once
should be
Mr. Garbarino can examine the vesting order and we figure out how much of it is applicable to this application, then Mr. Bernardi can give us an amended calculation if he needs to, or tell us that he still sticks by this calculation, whatever the case may be.
So why don't we make a motion to adjourn this so we can look at whatever legal issues we need Will to look at?
Okay, I don't know if there's any other members of the public to be heard.
Could we keep this
Yeah,
hearing
that-
open in case there's some items I need to add to this hearing,
Yes.
in
You're
particular?
going to
to
get
the
an
vesting?
adjournment, Mr. Graham, so you'll be able to present them before we hear you again, or at the time we hear you again.
Fair enough.
All right, but
I
I
thank
think
you very
maybe
much
the
for
people here
consideration.
who want to be heard, who've been waiting, so.
Does anyone else wish to be heard in this application?
Yes.
Okay, so name and address for the record, please.
Hi, this is Timothy and Maria O'Leary. We are at 35 Surf Road in Cornell Estates.
How are you tonight?
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Hope
Good.
everybody is good. Yeah, so that is us there, that White House. So we are to the east and slightly north. And, yeah, we've been paying attention to everything we've heard. And, I understand that they spoke with Ira, the neighbor directly to their north, who was concerned about his view. And so they're talking about moving the house 5 or 6 feet, whatever it might be, 4 or 5 feet, whatever it might
3 feet.
3 feet.
3 feet, okay, to the, right. And I think there's also going to be a deck also, I think, on the west side that's being added, if I'm not mistaken.
4.7 foot walkway.
So that, let me guess, you're going to say that decreases your view, right?
Yes, it does. So we are a little bit concerned about that. Our view is going to be affected, of course. And we understand that houses go up, and we're happy for them to do that, and they have to have a deck to get to that. So we're hoping that's going to impact our view as little as possible. And obviously the the closer their house comes into our view, the more that alarms us. That means that we're going to see more of the ramp approaching. That's like in, the new. We are concerned about that, and we'd love if the house was, just staying right where it was. That'd be great. Obviously, no easements on any of the setbacks that are, whether it be towards the dune and to the front, or the ocean to the, and the dune to the front, or towards the offsets towards us. We kind of feel like if, reading through all of the offset variances that they're asking for, if they're approved, we kind of feel like we're going to start seeing more of that in this area. And people are going to be, and ourselves included, possibly asking for a variance so that we can push our deck out into the offset area so that we can, regain the view that we had when we bought our house. And, it's going to be a very expensive project if we would have to do something like that. But, we just feel like if you allow all these offsets to every single side of the house, it looks like north, south, east, and west. It's not just one variance. It looks like it's all directions.
They do.
Mr. Wexler, it sounds like they're making your precedent argument.
Yeah, they are.
There are some precedents though in the area for.
There's several, yes.
Right. The thing that I would add in terms of precedents, right? So the evolution of Fire Island has been happening for a number of years. Deals struck between families that have lived next to each other for generations, and those deals are struck and people make agreements and everybody says it's okay. And I think, we looked for a house. We rented here for 9 years. We looked for a house. We never assumed that we were going to be able to encroach on zoning and change our setbacks. We passed on a number of properties because the zoning wasn't going to work for us and we weren't able to build what we wanted. So it feels a little presumptuous of the new owners to purchase this home without actually considering that this is kind of, when I look at the numbers, a slightly excessive, it's everywhere. So that's all we'll say for now. And I assume that we would get invited back to the next meeting where this is reviewed again. Is that correct?
If you had the invite for this meeting, you'd have a letter sent to you again for the next one, correct?
Thank you very much.
Or some type of notification.
Or
Mr.
some type
Stefan, is it a letter or is it an email? Or
It was
We
a letter.
received a letter. And we were
letter.
lucky we went home to our other address to see it yesterday. We never would.
That's the address on your tax bill. That's the one that
Yeah,
gets.
that's cool.
yeah.
We get it. Thank you.
All good.
We're all good. We'll look out for it now.
All right, great. Does anyone else wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further questions? Make a motion to adjourn. Open adjourn? Did we decide open adjourn or is there a date? Anyone?
Ms. Whalen, how long do you need to submit the full vesting order?
I think my title company should have the full order within the week. So if I could have about 10 days to submit it, that would be good.
Ms. Whalen, I do this on a daily basis. I think a week would be a little extreme with the way Suffolk County is right now, but that's just my opinion.
Do you think, well then, if you
Take
don't
more
mind
time.
2 weeks, that would be great.
I would take a little more time because the county is backed up.
I was going to suggest December 1st.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good to me.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
All right, make a motion to adjourn until December 1st, man?
Yes.
All right.
Thank
Second.
you.
Do we have a second?
Oh,
Second.
aye.
All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Application adjourned, see December 1st.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a great night.
Yeah.
I just realized, I apologize. I didn't ask Mr. Graham if that date was good for him.
Yeah,
I
that's
heard him
fine.
say thank you. He's still here with us.
I apologize. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. That's all good.
That date work for you too, sir?
Yes, thanks for your consideration.
All right. Have a great night.
All right, Mr. Graham, you're up again. Number 617-20, Norman Steel and Adia Dantino Steel. Permission to leave 6-foot fence having a front yard of 2.5 feet instead of required 15 feet. Arbor having a side yard of 7.8 feet and rear yard of 5 feet instead of required 10 feet each. Decking 8.7 by 20.9 feet irregular, having a rear yard of 5 feet and decking with counter 6.4 feet by 6.7 feet, having a rear yard of 7.5 feet instead of the required 15 feet each. Residence BAA District, east side of Fairway Avenue, number 24, 80 feet north of Bayview Avenue, Seaview, New York. Mr. Graham.
Good evening. For the record, Glenn Graham with Graham Associates, 1981 Union Boulevard, Bay Shore, New York. Mr. Chairman, prior to starting, we have consulted with Deidre in Planning and the Seaview Association, and we would like to withdraw that portion of the application requesting the setback for a front fence. The owner has agreed to put in a conforming fence and remove it from the Seaview Association property. Seaview Association has given a neutral letter and submitted that to the board. That would leave 2 variances we're requesting for this back arbor over what they're calling a barbecue area. And then there was a small gardening counter. I'll pull up some pictures of it so it shows up a little bit better.
You're looking to amend the application to remove permission to leave 6-foot fence having front yard of 2.5 feet instead of required 15 feet?
That's correct.
Make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application amended. Keep going, sir.
Here's a picture, and I'll flip through a couple, but in the background here through the living room, you can see the arbor and small barbecue area out back. This is a better view of it. To the north is the Seaview Association boat basin. Behind us is another neighbor behind all this foliage. This is the arbor outdoor barbecue area. Some more pictures of that as well. The second part of the application is also to maintain this, what is used as a gardening area. It's at grade level. It's also along the east end of the property. There is some precedent, and I believe planning will concur with us. There's a handful of precedent for both rear and side yards. And I can submit that for the record if you'd like as which, or we could hear from planning.
Deidre?
I was able to find precedent, just not for the fence, but that got amended.
Okay, folks. Anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions?
Just for the record, and Glenn, maybe you can help us with this. Dan Barker, representing the Seaview Association, did register today. And I believe he said he wanted to speak, but he is not in the attendee panel now.
No, I believe he wanted to speak about this, the letter that Dan Barker did submit this letter.
Oh, there it is. Great.
And it's just showing that they're neutral, but they did want us to address the fence situation. So that's what we're planning to do.
Terrific. Thank you.
Yep.
Great, thanks.
And Mr. Graham, that letter is in our file, or can you get it to Ms. Pissarro for our file, please?
I believe it was filed already, but I'll be happy to submit a copy myself.
Thank you very much.
Right. Does anyone else wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Wex, I'll take a motion.
Motion to grant is amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Have a great night, sir.
Application number 618-20. Denise and Lisa Gurkan. Permission to leave generator on platform 1.7 feet high in front of dwelling, not having 20 feet behind the front line of the dwelling, and to leave the driveway having a front yard occupancy of 39% instead of permitted 35%. Residence A District, east side of Secretog Lane West, number 201, 100 feet south of Bay 5th Street, West Islip, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
The applicant is here. Just have to help him.
Yep, how you doing?
We're good.
Hi, sir.
Good evening, board. This is Dennis Gerken, resident, owner of the property.
How are you?
Secretog Lane.
Great. So you're here seeking permission to leave a generator on platform front, not having 20 feet behind dwelling, and driveway having front yard occupancy of 39 instead of 35. The driveway, we see up to 40%. We give a little relief up to 40% from the code. So that seems to be okay there. The generator, we don't see many of these. Deirdre from planning, do we have any objection? Is there any precedent in the area? How do we?
No precedent, but no objections either.
All right.
I imagine, Mr. Chairman, we're gonna see more of these since
Yeah.
storms, huh?
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Now, there were two people that would like to be heard. One is John Davis from the Willets Point Civic Association.
I was just about this.
And the other is a neighbor who said that they live at 199 Secretog West.
Is that Mr. Meltzer?
Yes, I think they're both having technical difficulties, though. Can either of you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Mr. Davis. Yes. Name and address.
Mr. Meltzer.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Meltzer. Yes.
Oh, I must have identified, I renamed them wrong. Hold on. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Meltzer.
Yes, I am the neighbor at 199 Secretog Lane West. I am the neighbor just to the south of Dennis and Lisa. I want to speak in to the board to approve letting them keep the generator where it is located, because if they do move it 20 feet back, it will be right under my bedroom window. And as you know, generators do make some noise. I think where it is currently located, it's not bothering anybody. It's closest to our property, so I just want to speak in support of leaving it where it is.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else wish to be heard in this application?
John, you can't hear us, can you?
Yes, I can. I can hear you. I guess you don't have my camera image, but I can hear you.
This is the strangest thing. Isn't everybody saying this? Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead, John.
It doesn't matter if you can't see me. I don't like the lighting I have on me. Anyway, John Davis, President, Willets Point Association, Post Office Box 55, West Islip, New York. This is an unusual application. I've never seen one. We've had several front yard applications for either sheds or fences that are 6 feet high, solid fences, etc. This is a relatively small platform and generator. I think it's only about 2.5 feet by 4 feet, about 4 feet high. It's interesting because the next door neighbor just mentioned the noise. My next door neighbor has the same generator, and he has it on the side of his house where it belongs, and it makes it quite noisy. I wouldn't mind if his was out front. I don't see that we would be setting any precedent that would bother anybody. If this should come up occasionally, it probably rarely would come up. So we have no objections to it whatsoever.
Great.
And the driveway is a non-issue for us. That's a small thing.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Wexler, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we grant the application.
Second.
Application granted. All in favor?
Board.
Aye.
Thank you. Good evening.
Have a great night.
All right, next application, number 619-20, Michael and Dawn Dubanowski. Permission to leave a shed having a side yard of 1.2 feet instead of the required 2 feet. Residence B, 278 District, north side of Joanne Drive, number 35, 383.36 feet west of Windmere Drive, Holbrook, New York. Is there anyone here on this application?
Yes, we're here.
Good evening. Name and address for the record, please.
Dawn and Michael Lubineski, 35 Joanne Drive, Holbrook, New York, 11741.
It's an
Thank
outrageous request, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. How come you guys didn't put the shed 2 feet? Only 1.2. I'm only kidding. That seems de minimis request, 1.2 instead of 2 feet. I'm assuming planning has no objection to it.
No objections.
All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Motion to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Next application number 620-20. Milt Gym LLC, permission to erect two-story addition, 18.8 feet by 21.4 feet irregular, and to reconstruct the dwelling, leaving a front yard of 19.8 feet instead of the required 30 feet, and side yard of 11.1 feet instead of required 14 feet, to leave detached garage 9.2 feet by 16 feet, having side yard of 1.5 feet instead of the required 4 feet, and to leave driveway on side property line not having a required setback of 4 feet. Residence A District, north side of Roslyn Street, number 65, 80 feet east of Cunagunda Place, Islip Terrace, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Yes, my name is Steve Affelt, agent for the owner.
How are you tonight, sir? Just address for the record, please.
41 Leaside Drive, Great River, New York.
Great. State your case.
Good evening, board. We're here to seek tonight permission to erect an irregular second-story addition, as well. We're way too close to the front yard setback, as well as both side yard one side yard setback, based on the small lot size that we've been deemed to build on. And also our existing driveway and existing garage no longer meet the zoning requirements, as they probably did when they were first erected, God only knows how long ago. Most houses in this area are built way too close to the front yard lot line and way too close to the side yard lot lines. Many of them have second story additions similar to what we're looking for here. We're not trying to go over our FAR. We're just stuck with our house boundaries as they have been.
So, sir, you're just going straight up above the footprint right now of the house?
Correct. And we're also doing a second, an addition in the back that's only 1 story. So we're not going to be increasing height over that first story rear addition.
You stated that the area is somewhat non-conforming with these front yard reliefs. Do you have some precedence on that, or?
The entire block, except for brand new homes that were knocked down and rebuilt to the right specifications.
Do we have an aerial to show that would show that?
Me, myself, oh, there we go.
No, planning department's helping you out here, sir.
Yeah, you can see all those houses right to the adjacent and across the street. They're all way up front.
1 or 2 that are set back, right?
Yeah, and those are the newer ones that were probably knocked down and rebuilt.
And, planning any objection from Deirdre?
No objections. There's precedent for pretty much everything.
Pretty much everything, or everything? Do we have anything that we have to look
I think
at?
the only thing is just the driveway, but it's right now an earth driveway, so for part of it, and then concrete at another part, so it doesn't seem like a very big impact on the neighbor.
That should be an improvement, right?
Well, actually, I mean, the next door neighbor does have a driveway in the same exact spot with a garage in the same exact spot.
Great. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, name and address for the record, one at a time, please. I can't see anyone.
Kevin Wenzer, 69 Roslyn Street, Islip Terrace, New York, 11752.
How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, thanks.
I had a concern about the garage. It's a little close to the property line. And there's no garage there.
We have a CO for the garage for, ages ago, and this house was a derelict property. Most of the garage has collapsed and has been removed from the site. The foundation or the slab on grade still remains.
So there is a CO for this detached structure?
I believe so. Maybe I shouldn't quote on that. I should look it up before I speak so confidently.
Good idea.
Yeah, Mary, there was I didn't have a CO in my package. Is there,
Okay. You know why? Because there was a consolidation of parcels. Let's see if I can find it. The house may not have a CO. It's probably
because we don't have a CO on our garage because it was built in the 20s. And
I just need your name and address for the record if you're going to speak.
Catherine Quenzer.
Can I just get a spelling of that last name because it's not coming up?
Quenzer.
Thank you.
The assessor's records indicate the subject dwelling was built in 1925.
We're not really objecting to the garage. Maybe if you could set it back so we both can maintain the fences that will be, or bushes, whatever we're putting there, separate the properties. Because they're leaving us 1 foot.
Yeah, from what I gather, we have 1 foot from the existing garage slab, but 1.5 feet from the existing garage slab. We could reestablish the fence on the lot line. If that would help.
Yeah, just so we can both maintain our fences.
Yeah,
We don't have a problem with the garage going up.
do that, definitely.
Okay. Does anyone else wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wex, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion that we grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Application granted. Have a great night.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next application number 621-20, Brian P. and Brenda A. Young, permission to leave driveway having a side yard of 1/2 of a foot instead of required 4 feet. Precedent District, south side of Allen Drive, number 10, 300 feet west of Johnson Avenue, Sayville, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
Name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
Oh, sorry, there's back. Brenda Young, 10 Alphan Drive, Sayville, New York, 11782.
Great. How are you tonight?
Good, thank you.
You have a small driveway a little too close to your property line, correct?
Correct. We just bought the house in May and we were unaware of this. So we just, we're going through some solar installation and on the new survey, we found out that we needed a variance, which, you know, we gladly will do anything.
Oh, we see a small drivers like this close to the side property line a lot.
Okay.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a great night.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Next application number 622-20, Fred and Ruth Farbach. Permission to elevate dwelling and decking, leaving a front yard of 11 feet instead of required 25 feet to elevate decking, having a side yard of 12.8 feet instead of required 15 feet, and to leave an arbor having a front yard of 30.5 feet instead of the required 60 feet. Residence B, AA District, east side of Fifth Avenue, number 117, 240 feet south of Central Walk, Fair Harbor, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Yes, can you hear me? Cedric Legray, PO Box 261 in Ocean Beach, New York, 11770, representing Fred and Ruth Farbach tonight. I'm sorry, start the video. What we have here is a 1940s beach cottage. It's all legal, non-conforming, and the homeowners at this time wish to raise the dwelling. And in doing so, we would like to maintain the existing reduced front yard on the west side of the property on the Fifth Avenue side.
So is this you're just raising everything and that triggers all these reliefs? Is that right?
Correct. That is correct. Yes. Any legal non-conforming magically disappears when.
Well, no, I understand that part of it. I'm just saying that all you're doing is lifting everything that's there. You're not adding anything.
Although
new.
Aldo did catch the harbor that you see on the south side of the survey, which is, I guess, considered an accessory structure and should have a 60-foot front yard. And I believe that is part of the application as well.
What is that there already?
It is, yeah. It's, I mean, I'm agnostic. We could remove it or we could include it in the.
I was just curious if you were adding that. That's all.
No, it's existing.
Deirdre from planning, do you any objection to the arbor?
No objections.
Any objection to the rest of the application?
No objections. Nothing's being added.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application?
Yes, I believe so. They said that they wanted to be heard, but maybe they just wanted to listen. We have Amy and Wendy. Can either of you?
You have to unmute yourself if you wish to speak.
Only once.
No, we just wanted to listen.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
That was Wendy.
Is there Amy?
And then I have one other person, Amy Manowitz, who called right when the hearing was starting, I think, and was concerned about getting through.
I'm here.
Hello.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
Yeah, I don't have any comments. Thank you.
Great.
Does anybody know who Nancy Eason might be? I've been writing to her also. Anyone know? Okay, thank you.
Does anyone further wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Wexler, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Application granted.
Thank you.
Next
Great.
application number 548-20, Roberto Ramirez, permission to leave patio having a side yard of 1.5 feet instead of required 4 feet. Residence B District, north side of Cypress Street, number 33, 250 feet west of Boulevard Avenue, Central Islip, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
He's here.
Mary, not to interrupt, I just saw something pop up for Nancy Eason.
Oh, great. Let's see who she's here for. Okay, Roberto, can you hear us? There he is. Roberto, look for the little microphone, the red microphone, and
You have to unmute yourself, sir.
I don't see him as being muted.
I see the little red microphone with the slash through.
Okay, because I can't. Up there it was, and now it's gone. There it is again.
Mr. Ramirez, you have to unmute yourself. We cannot hear you.
Mr. Chairman, you want to try what we did last week? He can just nod his head if he's in agreement.
Yeah, Mr. Ramirez, can you hear us? If you're in agreement with what we have to say, you can nod your head. Yes or no? There he is. We got you now.
Better? All right.
That's better.
I see you.
Name and address for the record, sir. How are you?
Okay, good. My name is Roberto Ramirez, and the property is 33 Cypress Street, Central Islip, New York, 11722.
Great. You have a driveway and a patio that's, well, a driveway, actually, they call them the whole thing, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, patio.
Patio.
Yes, a little bit too close. Deirdre from planning.
Yeah, it's too close.
No objections.
No objections. All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion.
Motion to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Have a great night, sir. Application granted.
good job, Roberto.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Best application of the night.
Bye now.
All right, next application number 623-20, Gabriella Grama, permission to leave second story deck having a side yard of 12.6 feet instead of the required 14 feet and to leave a retaining wall 3 feet high on the side property lines, not having a required setback of 4 feet each. Residence B District, east side of Bell Avenue, number 111, 150 feet north of Shelter Road, Ronkonkoma, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Good evening.
Muted.
Oh, you had it. There you
How
go.
about now? Hello. You cannot see me though, right?
We can hear you, though.
Okay, hello. Hello, everybody.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing well, thank you.
And name and address for the record, please.
Gabriela Grama, 111 Bell Avenue, Ronkonkoma, New York, 11779.
Great. You have a second story deck a little too close.
I do.
And your retaining wall on the side property line not having required setback of 4 feet. The second story deck seems de minimis. It's just a little bit shy. The retaining wall. Deirdre from planning, any objection?
No objection. There's precedent for both, actually.
Okay. There you go. Tonight's your night, Ms. Kramer.
Thank you.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted.
Thank you.
All right, the next application adjourned from October 6th, 2020. Number 569-20, Brian Hamilton, permission to erect a one-story addition, 23.5 feet by 34 feet, irregular, leaving second front yard of 14 feet instead of required 22 feet, and to leave 6-foot fence having a second front yard of 1.2 feet instead of the required 10 feet. Residence A District, northwest corner of Connecticut Avenue, number 1224, and South Lawn, Central Islip. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Daniel Kissinger, 107 Long Island Avenue, Yaphank, New York, 11980. I'm speaking on behalf of Brian Hamilton, the owner of 1224 Connecticut Avenue, and we're looking to, we pushed the addition of a single-story garage and mudroom addition back a little bit more from our previous hearing.
How much more, sir?
We pushed it back so that it starts from the original at the existing house at 22 feet, which is the setback. And since the house is currently tilted on the site, it then projects into the setback. But we are looking to not increase the current side yard setback of 15.7 feet.
Just looking to extend it.
Just looking to extend just so that they have a garage for the client.
So it will hold the 15.7 feet that the house holds now, you're saying?
Well, the existing house is 15.7 feet from the setback, and we are looking to have it at 17.5 feet.
Oh, I got you. Okay. All right. 6-foot fence.
The 6-foot fence, we are going to relocate it to the 10-foot setback as required.
Great. Does anyone wish to be heard on this application?
So we have not amended the call yet. So I hope you guys were following that as far as the new setbacks for the call of the meeting or for the grant.
Okay, so what was the setback on the second front yard?
The second front yard was, the existing house is 15.7 feet.
Okay, so let's say 15.
But the extension, you did 17?
17.5 for the new addition. So we are not increasing these relief.
So second front yard of 17.5 instead of required 22, and we'll remove dimensions.
That was my question.
Right, and we'll remove dimensions from consideration as well.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to amend the call of the meeting to reflect a second front yard setback of 17.5 feet and to eliminate the request for the 6-foot fence.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Hang on, we didn't do anything yet.
Does the board have any questions? Mr. Nicole, I'll take a motion.
Motion to grant the application as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Application granted as amended. Have a good night.
Well done, Mr. Kissinger. You used your time constructively, sir.
Thank you.
Next application, number 624-20, Anthony and Katia Giaquinto, permission to erect dwelling having a front yard of 20 feet instead of required 25 feet, side yard of 7 feet instead of required 10 feet, to erect decking on grade, leaving front yard of 0, to erect stairs with landing, leaving a front yard of 8.2 feet and a 6-foot wide ramp, leaving a front yard of 14 feet and a side yard of 7 feet instead of the required 15 feet each. all resulting in floor area ratio of 40.8% instead of the permitted 30%. Residence BAA District, west side of Broadway, number 42, 240 feet north of Central Walk, Fair Harbor. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Charles J. Broody, architect, 30 Bethesda Lane, Sayville, New York.
Broody, how are you?
1172, representing the property owner.
How are you tonight?
Good, how is everyone?
You froze up. Can you?
Hello?
You froze up. Can you say that again? Is it you just frozen or can you?
How is everyone tonight?
Everyone is great, thanks.
Very good.
Go ahead, state your case.
Okay, so as stated in the call, the property owner is requesting permission to construct proposed one-story residence to the required FEMA height elevation of 10 with the setbacks and increased FAR percentage proposed in the call. I believe in speaking to Deirdre from planning that there are precedent on almost everything that we are requesting, but I do understand that the side yard of 7 feet, there is a precedent, I believe, of 7.6 to 8 feet. So if that is correct, we are willing to conform with that precedent.
All right. Is that correct, Deirdre?
Yes, the biggest relief I was able to find for side yard was for the house, for the dwelling, was 7.6.
Okay, great. So, and Mr. Broody, you're willing, your client's willing to conform to 7.6 feet on that side yard?
Yes, we are.
All right. Does anyone wish to be heard? And everything else, I'm sorry, Deirdre, there's precedent for?
Yes.
I have a question with regarding the 7-foot request side yard on the south side. Since we're losing a little bit on the north side, can that be reduced down? Is there a precedent for that, Deirdre?
I did find one deck side yard.
I unmuted myself. How do I?
Keeping at 4.8 feet. So
What is, so you have one there. What is the other? Is there any other ones that you have to or no?
not for decking side yard, not as close as that is.
And planning has no objection to the 4.8?
Well, I would prefer him not to have 4.8 if he's just going 0.6 to make up for the other side.
We gotcha.
That'd be fine.
So I lost you for a moment there. So you said
I think she's only supporting the other side with the additional 6 inches and no further relief other than the call, right, Ms. Ryan?
Correct.
You okay with that, Mr. Bird?
Yeah.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application?
We do have 3 neighbors who have expressed interest in attending the hearing.
I see Ms. Straub is here, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's here twice, in fact.
Well, yeah, Laureen, you kept coming in and back out again, so I kept renaming you, and I may have mixed you up with the Westervelts. So I hope you're all out there. We should have Laureen Straub.
Why don't we start with Ms. Straub?
Yes.
Name and address.
Hello, do you hear me?
We hear you, yes.
Thank you.
Name and address.
Yes. When you're ready, I can express our objection.
Just give name and address for the record, please.
Sure. My name is Laureen Straub, 4 Huron Avenue, Massapequa, New York, 11758.
Great. Go ahead.
Okay. Our property in Fair Harbor lies immediately next to the north side of the proposed structure. Our lot at 38 Broadway is only 40 by 80 feet as per prior zoning regulations, with a requested structure depth of 27.8 feet, allowing only 7 feet from our property line, will unreasonably encroach upon our living area. Our kitchen and living room windows look right at that side of the house to be built, as well as the south side of our deck. will be overshadowed considerably by the proposed build and will be blocked by the structure, allowing an additional 3 feet on our side to meet the 10-foot town requirement would help this situation considerably. The south side of the proposed build has more than enough room to accommodate the additional 3 feet that would meet the town requirement. So in essence, we object to 7 feet and are looking for the town to honor the zoning of 10 feet on the north side of the property.
We appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not sure if you heard before that there were other approvals in the area with 7.6 feet for side yard setback. Mr. Brody and his client, or he's speaking on behalf of his client, agreed to accommodate to the 7.6, which there are prior approvals for.
Yes, I did hear that. My question on the 7.6, are those old approvals or are those recent?
I don't know when, Dina, do we know when the approval was? I can't hear you, you're muted.
Hello?
Sorry, the approval for the 7.6 side yard was in 2006.
All right, that's, now I guess what I'd like the board to take into consideration is that the property that we are next to, in other words, 42 Broadway, is 80 by 80. And the structure will be only 7 feet from our property line. The town obviously has a zoning requirement of 10 feet for a reason, which I believe the town should take into consideration that we being on a property of only 40 by 80, we're going to have this house right on top of us. The additional 3 feet still gives ample room on the opposite side, which would be the south side of the property. You've got 19 feet from the house to the south side of the property line. On our side, the north side, you've only got 7 feet. We don't see how that's fair and balanced.
Ma'am, you said your property is 40 by 80?
Correct.
And Deirdre, this is 80 by 80, is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes.
So you needed variance relief to build your house, did you not?
Our house, we've been in our house for 30 years.
I didn't ask how long you've been in your house. Your house enjoys variances, does it not?
I don't think so. Originally in Fair Harbor, 40 by 80 was considered an acceptable lot by the town. There were numerous 40 by 80 plots. So historically, 40 by 80 did not require a variance.
Well, the lot may not have, but the structure might have.
Our structure is not in question.
No, it's
we're looking at
it's a nature and character argument, ma'am. And if your structure is one of the ones that don't comply with the zoning ordinance itself, you can't be heard to say, hey, the town should strictly apply it to somebody else. Right?
No. I'm not saying our structure does not.
No, but it doesn't.
Well, we don't know if it does.
Oh, well, yeah, correct. But that's fair.
All I'm saying is that the house had to be built 50 to 60 years ago,
I
our property.
understand.
But,
your
again,
concern-
we're looking at an 80 by 80 piece of property that could easily accommodate meeting the town requirement of 10. We understand that the Giaquintos are asking for several setback allowances, and we agree with all of them. The only one that we're not
except the one that
agreeing
affects
with.
you.
Well, no, they all do. They all do affect us. They're right next door.
Well,
But I'm
that
sure
one
it's-
affects you the most, though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if
Okay.
you look at the front of the two homes, that home's going to be sitting
Did-
right on top of us versus having so much room on the south.
Understood. Deirdre, do we have an aerial by any chance?
Ma'am, you're the house to the north?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Oh, all right. I
So
was
is
turned
that
around.
the subject, Deirdre, that you're circling? You're muted.
Sorry, the subject is the larger one. I was pointing out because Mr. Nicoli was mentioning the north house. So this is her house. This is a subject parcel.
I see. Okay. Looks like that's a little closer than 7 feet in the parcel to the north, right?
Now that house that you see there is the house that was knocked down. That was approximately 8 feet away.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else wish to be heard in this application? The other neighbor, Mayor?
Yeah, I've got two others watching, but they're just watching, I guess. I've been asking them to start. Here we go. We got somebody.
Yes, hi. This is Bradley Max with Valerie Max from 4 Stone Hollow Way, Armonk, New York. We don't have any objections.
Thank you.
Although the points that Lauren Staub made are all appropriate and valid, don't have any objections.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else further wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wexler, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we deny so much of the application seeking 7 feet instead of required 10 feet and grant 7.6 instead of required 10 feet and grant the remainder of the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, all.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Take care.
Next application number 625-20, Timothy Dempsey and Ellen Beldy. Permission to elevate dwelling, leaving a front yard of 19.9 feet instead of the required 25 feet, side yard of 5.9 feet instead of required 10 feet, rear yard of 18.5 feet instead of required 25 feet.
Do you want to leave it?
Portico, leaving a front yard of 13.9 feet instead of the required 25 feet. To erect a second story addition, 24.1 feet by 41.6 feet, leaving a front yard of 19.9 feet instead of the required 25 feet, side yard of 5.9 feet instead of required 10 feet, rear yard of 18.5 feet instead of required 25 feet, to erect one-story addition with roof over, leaving side yard of 5.9 feet instead of the required 10 feet, and rear yard of 13.1 feet instead of required 25 feet, to erect decking over 48 inches high, leave a front yard of 13.9 feet instead of the required 25 feet, side yard of 5.9 feet, and rear yard of 8.1 feet instead of required 15 feet each. To erect accessory building, 10 feet by 3.7 feet, leaving a side yard 5.9 feet and rear yard of 4.4 feet instead of required 10 feet each. All additions and alterations resulting in a new dwelling, having a floor area ratio of 36.2% instead of 30% permitted. Residence BAA District, west side of Broadway, number 92, 160 feet south of Central Walk, Fair Harbor. Mr. Ang, is there any portion of the zoning code you have not violated here?
I don't believe so. Good evening, Chairman, members of the board.
Good evening, Mr. Ang.
Chris Ang, representative for the owner, 93 Main Street, West Sayville, New York. We're lifting the existing one-story dwelling that is 24 by 24 feet. And we're proposing a second story over the existing one story. And on the west side, we are proposing a 2-story addition and also a 1-story adjacent to the 2-story. We're going to lift this house. We're getting pushed into the lift as well because of the new dwelling precedents. And the property is actually split up from an AE10 to a VE14. So the north part of the property is AE10 and the south part is VE14. The owner would like to keep the dwelling in the AE10 zone, so that we are only lifting it to an AE12 and not lifting it to the VE14. It would be a difference of 4 feet in the lift. They do not wish to have a high house. They wish to have a low house. So that's why we're trying to keep everything that we're building on the north side of the property, north of that AE10 line on the property.
Mr. Ang, for the benefit of everyone listening who may not understand it, can you explain what AE10 and VE?
Sorry, an AE10 just means the elevation. So it's we have to be 10 feet plus 2 feet above the sea level. So the north part of the property is in a less restrictive elevation plane than the south part of the property. So the south part of the property is in a
front has
more
to be 14 and the back has to be 10.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So, and with that, with the lift, we're keeping the original footprint of the original dwelling. So the rear yard setback is an existing 5.9 foot setback, and the front setback is 19.9 existing. So we're keeping those two dimensions, or those two setbacks of the house. So when we lift it, we're keeping those two. And we're running the two-story addition in line with the existing house, and the second story addition we're keeping over the existing footprint of the existing dwelling. I actually went over this property with Deidre from planning, and I think she found some precedents for the relaxations that we're asking for.
Deidre, what say you?
I was able to find precedent. The only thing that I wasn't able to find was the side yards that kept popping up for the 5.9. But the existing house, which is this square here, this is basically the footprint, and it had a side yard of 5.9.
Was it CO'd?
I'm not too sure.
Yes, it was here.
Yeah, there's a CO on the house, correct.
So then there's precedent for 5.9 with the legal CO'd structure on this very parcel.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application?
I would like to ask a couple of questions of Mr. Eng. I'm Marcia Stark, 295 North Broadway, Yonkers, New York. New York. I am the owner of 92 Broadway, the blue house across the street. So if I understand your description of AE, the new house will be raised above the sand by 12 feet?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay, please explain.
So the house is going to be above the sand, is going to be approximately 6 feet.
Oh, that's nothing.
Correct. We by right, if we were to push this house into the VE zone, which is the more restrictive zone in the property, we would be able to lift this up, say 10 or 12 feet. But the
Kind of
owner,
like the house to the south.
correct. But the owner's choosing to lift it less and not more.
So they are really basically trying to maintain the overall profile on that lot, only put a second story on.
That's
on what
correct.
is an existing very
the
low house.
That's correct. The owner's trying to be very sensitive to the neighbors.
It does sound like that. Question about the proposed deck. Is that going to extend beyond the existing deck?
Yes, it is.
How much about?
I would say we're going out probably another 6 feet, 7 feet
Yeah,
towards the
it's all right.
south.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much tonight. Anyone else wish to be heard in this application?
I do.
Hi, how are you? Name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Mary Ellen McLaughlin, 81 Cedar Road, Katona, New York, and also 81 Cranberry Walk, Fair Harbor.
How are you today?
I'm good. My only concern is the extra, whatever that is, 5 or 6 feet of deck to the back. It's a very big deck. I don't understand why it needs to be 4 feet from the property line. That's a 58-foot by 25-foot deck. I think you could fit the laundry and the shower within just within the size of the old deck.
Sure. Deidre, the rear deck relief, the rear deck relief, is there any precedent in that for that?
For the rear yard, there's a deck with a rear yard of 2.8. Are you talking about this part back here?
Sort of like that whole length of that part. Like if the deck just went to the side of the house, it would be 8.1 feet for a variance. And that seems like a reasonable variance instead of 4.4.
Well, the 4.4 is only for this part, and there is a utility path.
That's true.
So it's 4.4 plus this kind of space.
Right.
And I believe when I spoke to Mr. Eng, it's only gonna be 8 feet in height, so it seems like it'd be a reasonably small laundry room. But otherwise, the majority of the deck is 8.1. It's
So-
only this small part here that's 4.4.
Mr. Eng, do you know how many trees you're gonna have to take down for this?
There is one tree that the owner would not like to take down, but it's the one tree that's to the south of the existing deck that we're probably gonna have to take down on that one. But I don't know the total quantity.
All right. And is there a requirement for like a fence or anything?
Not that I know of.
Okay. We're just gonna be, our deck will be below there, everything. And
Oh,
the-
you're Mary Ellen, you're the property to the south?
Yeah, one of,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're to the east. On Cranberry Walk to the east.
West.
So
Oh, okay.
our deck will line up against your deck.
Okay. The owner, the owner is very sensitive to privacy of herself and to the neighbors. So I'm sure I can open up a conversation for some legal fencing between you and this property.
Okay. Because where it is now, your shower will be like 6 feet from our deck.
Is Cranberry Walk to the east or is it?
East.
West.
Oh, west. I'm sorry, west.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was a little
I'm looking to the
confused on
east
that
and
one.
I'm going, wait a second.
Sorry, no, west. My husband's yelling east at me.
Okay, thank you.
And also, I spoke to the other adjacent neighbor to the west, who would be adjacent to,
Us.
yes, you, Mary Ellen McLaughlin. I spoke to Madeline Donahue today, and she too is concerned about the proximity to the deck, of the deck to her home on Cranberry Walk.
Yep, our decks are sort of next to each other with a wall, and we've known each other for years. But then this would add a third deck that will all be together with their shower sort of in between our decks, or probably closer to my deck.
Yeah, Mary Ellen, I just want to kind of point out that this owner is choosing not to lift it high. So that she's trying to be very sensitive to everyone's privacy, yours including her own. So we're pushing the whole extension to the north side of the property so that we're not 4 feet higher.
Yeah, no, I understand that and I get it. But I think that's a lot of deck, so you could probably accommodate not having so much deck and everybody losing so much privacy. How many people do you want on a 60-foot deck?
I can't answer that question.
I know. I guess it doesn't matter. It's worth my asking.
You're allowed to state your opinion.
You're asking for some mitigation of what you perceive to be an adverse impact. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly acceptable.
Okay.
Okay. Does anyone further wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wex, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion that we grant the application.
Second.
And I would ask the applicant to make every effort to accommodate his neighbor's privacy concerns.
We will.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Next application number 626-20, Robert and Joyce E. Sabella, permission to leave fish pond in side yard when only permitted in rear yard. Residence A District, east side of Secretog Avenue, number 43, 200 feet south of Dixie Lane, East Islip, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Here he comes.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, how are you, sir?
How are you? Good night. Good night. How's everything, everybody?
Everything's great. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Max Montalbano. I'm at 50 Andrea Avenue in Islip Terrace, New York, 1752.
And you're here on behalf of the Sabellas?
Yes, which I believe Nancy, which you guys asked about it before, she should be on this too.
Is that Nancy Eason?
Yes.
Go by two names?
Precisely. Nancy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You have two names?
Well,
Me? No, my parents own the home.
Okay, so you're
we
not the
reside in it.
applicant, right?
Yes, they live there. Nancy lives there with a family, and I'm just there, as a friend. I'm just trying to help them out with this,
Okay,
with this
so she lives
application.
in her parents' home. Is that right, ma'am?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I was just confused.
Not a problem. So you're seeking permission to leave a fish pond.
Yes.
It's located in the side yard, not in the rear yard, where it's permitted.
Correct. I mean, obviously they put it there. They didn't know it wasn't supposed to be there. I mean, I provided pictures for them to see how far back it is, even how far back from the front of the house. It's next to the garage. It's a nice setup. There's some nice koi fish there. So we're trying to leave it there because I understand what the zoning, and they understand too, but I know Nancy has some things to say about it too, because they enjoy where it is.
We had no idea years ago when we put it in that it needed to be zoned. We thought it was set back far, it would be nice. We have the net over it for safety. We had no idea that there was a zoning law for that. And the fish have really become our pets. And it's peaceful, tranquil, and it adds, I think, to the neighborhood as well.
Okay. Deirdre from planning, do we have any area precedent for fish ponds in the side yard?
There's no precedent. Is there a height to the fish pond? Like, is there any decorative rocks on the outside, or is it at grade?
There is decorative rocks, but it's really below. I don't know if you see the pictures that I have provided. It's really below grade, so there's decorative rocks around it, where the net is.
Right.
And that's what it is. And again, it's really like maybe 30 inches below grade. And there's no height above that. You really can't see it. I mean, I took some pictures from the street too. You really can't see it, but some neighbors enjoy, the sound and everything. So I don't know,
Is it a safety issue that this code? Maybe Mr. Messina would know this, or
Oh my gosh, Mr. Sarro probably knows better than me, but I would say that a prohibition on the front yard is because, you don't want somebody walking over into it, and you can drown in an inch of water as easily as 6 feet of water. The other thing I would just note is I don't know how the neighbors would hear any of it. It's in the front yard, and it's away from any side yard. So I'm not buying that argument, Mr. Montalbano. Good try though, but I'm not going for that. The only thing I would note, Mr. Chairman, is that there are two front yards on this parcel, and to the extent that
it's some excellent survey work by Mr. Simmons. He makes it look like Dixie Lane is a second front, but it's not.
It's not a 2 front yards. No.
Oh, I see. This got a 200 feet.
Right.
Okay. I mean, this is exactly what the code was enacted to prevent, unfortunately.
I'm saying it's set back like 62 feet.
Set back 1,000 feet, it's still a front yard, and that's the problem. It's not a setback that you have a problem with. It's in the front yard.
When we did it, I guess it is off the front. We were thinking it was more of the side, because where the kitchen door is really the side of the house. So in doing it, we weren't thinking it's coming off the front, because it is to the side of the house.
Okay, but in fairness, had you inquired as to whether or not you needed a permit, you would have been told that, and you wouldn't have put it probably where it is. So, that argument cuts both ways.
Right. We just knew that we loved the koi,
and you thought you were improving your house. I'm not quarreling.
Right.
I do have some photos that, unfortunately, with these virtual hearings, it's hard to get to share with the board. It's probably worth you guys seeing them if you want to reserve decision and make sure you get a look at them.
Yeah, and I mean, any legislative history, anything in the public hearing when this was enacted might be helpful. in
I think we should
enlightening us
reserve-
on why they were prohibited in front yards to begin with.
I would like to look into this and reserve decision, and it's my opinion on that. We'll see what the board says.
I'll support you on that, Mr. Chairman.
Does any,
Me too.
any further wish to be heard in this application?
Oh, one last thing. I do see a big old Post-it note on the file from the neighbor across the street. Vera Trular called and said she's in support of the application. No objection. Please leave it where it is. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
What was her name, the neighbor?
The neighbor across the street is Vera Trular, Truhlar.
Good. All right, does anyone else wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. I'll take a motion. I'll make a motion to reserve application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application reserved. We have 62 days by law. We'll do the best we can to get it to you as soon as possible, sir.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Penultimate application number 627-20, Michael and Debbie Randazzo. Permission to leave above ground pool having a front yard of 5.1 feet and pool filter having a front yard of 5.5 feet instead of required 20 feet each. To leave a pool deck 3 feet high having a front yard of 4.7 feet instead of the required 15 feet. To leave a deck on the rear property line not having the required setback of 4 feet and a driveway having a side yard of 2.7 feet instead of required 4 feet. Residence B District, southwest corner of Jefferson Avenue, number 86, and McKinley Street, Islip Terrace. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
I believe I'm still here. Is this Max Montalbano?
You are. Look at you.
All right.
Cool night for you tonight, huh, Mr. Montalbano?
I'm trying to help people out. I'm trying to help my friends.
Got a lot of
So,
friends.
These are friends, wife's friends.
Whatever.
whatever.
Good for you. Good for you.
Trying to help them out.
So you're just here in the goodness of your own heart, helping out your neighbors?
That's it. That's it. That's basically it.
A public servant like us, Mr.
I
Chairman.
really am. Believe it or not, I really am.
Oh my goodness. Well,
And
you're in
that's
for a good
very-
one. You're in for a good one now, Mr. Montalbano. So state your
I
case.
know. Trust me. I already warned them. I know. I already told them, like, I don't know. And the only reason they got through this is because solar panels. I'm like, I know. Solar panels got you into this. And I try to explain to people because the solar panel like company, they go like, oh, no problem. Like it is a problem because things come up. And again, with the pool, they've enjoyed the pool for the, I don't know, many years, 20 years, whatever it is, but it's a second floor yard, which I know.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And the
So
pool deck. How long has it been up, the pool deck?
I believe 2002, 2004, like something like that. That's what they told me.
Okay.
I don't know if you have aerials or something, but I don't know. That's
So
what they told
They
me.
built it without
Yes.
applying for.
Without the permit, yes, which they know that. And, obviously they placed it where,
Where they
I'm
liked
looking at the survey right now where
Where
obviously
they liked it because they have a lot of room in the back.
Right. So I understand why they did it. They just didn't know that they weren't supposed to. So,
Gotcha.
Now,
let me ask Deirdre. I'm going to ask this crazy question because I think I know the answer. But Deirdre, do we have any precedent for an above ground pool at 5.2 feet?
1
foot. I'm sorry.
No precedent.
Shocking.
I don't know if you can see me, but I can see myself. But like, yeah, it is.
How we looking on that driveway, Mr. Chairman? Trying to salvage something for Mr. Montalbano.
No, I know. Don't forget about the platform in the back. Don't forget about that.
Platform. If you don't have a pool, you don't need a platform.
Oh, the little tiny wood platform. Yeah, the little tiny wood platform there.
They use the platform. Literally, I was just there. I don't know if you can see the pictures, but they use it for like pool things, like chairs and
That's
Right.
on grade, that platform's on grade?
Yes.
Yes, I don't think that's an issue. That seems de minimis. The driveway seems de minimis. I honestly, I feel horrible saying this, but that pool is a big, and the deck is a big problem.
I understand. I believe it. Now, yeah, no, it doesn't matter. There's no argument to make about that. Like, I don't know how they would change that. Is that a safety thing? Because I thought about it because I was here before with other second, second front yard pools, like, making a safety issue. I don't know.
Sure is. All zoning is health, welfare, and safety, sir.
Right.
Yep.
So.
All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Is Mr. Wexler around? I didn't hear him before. Is he?
I'm here.
Hi, Mr. Wexler. I'll take a
Hey,
motion.
Mr. Wexler.
I'll take a
Yes.
motion, Wexler.
I'll make a motion that we deny the application.
Well, not in full?
Everything? No. Take it easy
No,
now.
wait. No. We're going to deny so much of the application to permit a pool having in the second front yard of 5.1 feet instead of required 20 feet. And I believe grant the remainder of the application.
The pool deck were.
And the filter.
Yes, and the pool deck and the filter, yes.
And
Second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
You have a great night, Mr. Montalbano.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.
Take care.
Next application adjourned from September 22nd, 2020. Balal Ali Latif, permission to erect one-story dwelling on a lot having an area of 6,000 square feet instead of required 11,250 square feet, width of 60 feet instead of required 75 feet, leaving the front yard of 30.9 feet instead of the required 40 feet, Residence A District, north side of Back Street, number 0, 100 feet west of Walnut Avenue, Ronkonkoma, New York. Mr. Zolo, are you here?
I am here. Good evening, everybody. Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
You saved the best for last, Mr. Zola.
I told Mary, I think you guys went alphabetically, so I'm used to it.
How are you tonight?
I am well. How are you guys?
Good. Just name and address for the record.
Sure. It's Loves of John B. Zolo, 12 Manor Road, Smithtown, New York, 11787 on behalf of the applicant. And that'd be Balal Ali Latif. We were here. We last left our hero. He was here on September 22nd. And I was able to get a copy of the radius map, which I didn't have. And the question was asked concerning what other lots in the area had frontage with similar to mine. And off the radius map, the lots on, there was 3 lots on Cedar that I saw, which is lot 32, which is 60-foot frontage, lot 31, which is 60-foot frontage, and lot 43.1, which is a 50-foot frontage. And then on Walnut, I have lot 67.1, which is 44 feet, lot 52, which is 70 feet, and lot 55, which is 80 feet. And my lot is at lot number 57. So that's off the radius map. And the
Square footage?
I'm sorry.
Square footage? You have precedent for the square footage as well?
I didn't go over the square footage, no, just I was looking at frontage. No.
Okay, got it.
And one of the things we talked about when I initially made this application, this is a single and separate lot. And there also was, it has a street number.
Did you submit a single and separate search?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Mr. Garbarino, you've seen that?
I say absolutely, I believe we did.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And that was critical in my application here. And also, I sent you a copy of a demolition permit for an existing structure.
Yeah, there's a dwelling on it already, correct?
Right, yes, and that's why it has a street number, 881 Bayek Street. So there was a house that was demolished, and I tried to find it from the assessor's records. I had spoken to, I forgot who it was in the assessor's records, but they didn't go, she didn't have anything that went back that far. So, but I believe there was a structure there, you had a demolition permit. My client bought the property from the county for $47,000, hoping to build a house over there. And so, other than that, I think single and separate, there was a house there, we had demolition permit issued from the town of Islip. And there are some lots within the 200 and 500 foot radius of similar width. I did not go over square footage. So we're looking, reduce the lot size from 11,250 to 6,000. So
with frontages like 42, as you cited, it would have to be a bowling alley lot to come even close, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way you'd make up the square footage. So
yeah,
I would imagine that they'd be just by default, because the frontage is small, the square footage would also correspond. And that would inure to your benefit.
Sure.
Yes.
Deirdre from planning, any objection from planning for this application?
Yes, there's only one other lot that's 60 foot by 100, which is the subject parcel. They actually are bowling alley lots, like you said, Mr. Messina. There's the 40-foot lot is by 200, so that's 8,000 square foot. And even the other 60-foot wide lots are by 150, 155, 157, 200. So they're all much larger than this lot.
Are there any more 60 by 100 unbuilt lots?
No.
So I don't think we have much to worry about with Precedent.
Right. And Deirdre, was it not, there's a CO for a demolition of a one-story dwelling, a one-family dwelling. That was back in 1981. So there was a house on this.
My only concern is that there's a few lots in the area that I'm scared would be subdivided to create similar lots like this one.
That's a different situation. Isn't this lot single and separate?
Yes, single and separate.
And then the subdivision, by definition, is not.
Yeah, no, that's just my concern. It's just that it's right next to two 120 by 100s, which you could then, I don't know if they can make the argument, but that was
Mr. Garbarino, should we grant this application, would you be sure to include in the decision itself that this is a single and separate lot, and that places great weight with us as far as an approval for variances, and such an approval might not be granted for lots that are not similar size lots that are not single and separate, such as a subdivision.
Of course, Mr. Cohen.
Do we have any precedent, Deidre, for 6,000 square foot buildings, lots?
No, there is one lot that's a 60 by 100, but it's been developed. I don't believe it required a variance at the time.
So what's the next closest?
The next closest is a 8,000 square foot lot, which are like the 40 by 200s over here, and then a few scattered throughout.
So
what's 2,000 square feet amongst a couple of friends?
If I could just give you I don't want this to go unsaid, because you've also just asked for the town attorney to issue a comment that would be against the board's decision in 1987 on this parcel. If everybody recalls, there was a denial in 1987. Those were years where single and separate was being tested. It went all the way to the New York State Court of Appeals, as you know, and the former chairman was, or was it former chairman, who was chairman for 37 years, was quite proud of that decision, known as Kranstuber. But I have the case here, and he said that pursuant to the Town of Islip zoning ordinance, if the applicant is requesting more than one relief from the code, he cannot base the application on single and separate ownership alone. See Dittmer v. Shire and Pilati v. Shire. Sorry, but it's here in the file, so I don't.
But that may be, but the issue is that they're
I didn't hear the rationale for granting something that would be the smallest by a fair amount in the radius. What was the rationale?
Well, I think the rationale was, Mr. Wexler, that A, there was a dwelling on the property, there was a demolition permit for it. B, one of our board members stated also that it is single and separate, and there is not, I don't believe, any other vacant 60 by 100 lots in this area to be developed again.
Right, there's no chance that this could serve as precedent because there are no undeveloped lots.
And to be clear, my request of Mr. Garbarino, counsel, was if we decided to grant it, and was only in reference to the possibility of a future subdivision, trying to rely on this as precedent.
I believe that some of the board members have some questions and some thoughts, so maybe we reserve it and we discuss it. And,
I'm all for that, Mr. Chairman.
and we have a nice discussion regarding it and some more informative time.
I'm good with reserving it too.
And we have neighbors here that are interested in speaking.
Sure. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application?
Hi.
You can hear us now?
We can hear you.
Okay, Douglas and Mellor Purcell, 877 Bayek Street, Ronkonkoma, New York, 11779. We are next door neighbors to the lot.
There was a bungalow there at one time and it burned down many, many years ago.
Okay.
A small bungalow.
And the two lots that we're on, the 120s by 100, they were originally back in the 40s, all 60 by 100 lots. There were 4 of them that her grandparents owned. So the lot on the corner, that's 120 by 100, is actually undeveloped. So just for information. And our only concern is, as much as we'd like to see the raccoons and the trees go on that lot, it's an awful small lot being wedged between two. And even though there was a pre-existing bungalow there way back, it was a small bungalow.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, they're
I don't know
asking,
how big of a house they intend to put there, but
well, they're not asking for relief, for example, for side yard setbacks.
right.
If
No,
I
and-
might,
So there, it looks like there's an attempt here, whether or not it's sufficient enough, you could question, I guess, but looks like there's a good faith effort to.
Oh, I
comply
understand
with
that,
the
but
zoning Ordinance and respect,
yes. I
you know,
don't-
your privacy and the adverse impacts it would have on you and the neighbor on the other side, so you gotta, and in the rear as
Yeah.
well.
Well, it's just that also there's a problem, I can tell you in the past with the Suffolk County Board of Health as far as the water table.
That's what I'm worried about because
Yeah,
we
we
have
don't-
one
we don't
allowed.
have
I know you don't deal with that, but I'm just saying, I don't know how that's going to
It's
impact us.
Yeah, they're just here for relief
I
on the
understand.
size of the lot.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Appreciate your concern.
Thank you very much. That was very helpful, sir.
Mr. Chairman, if I just might, the proposed house is a small one-story ranch, 1,040 square feet. And as Mr. Messina said, we're trying to be mindful of the neighbors and put a small house on a parcel that will not disrupt the neighborhood, and I think will fit in with the surrounding properties.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Does anyone further wish to be heard in this application? Any more hand being raised, Mary? I don't see any. No. All right. Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to reserve decision.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Zola, you know we have 62 days by law. We'll do the best we can to get a decision out.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Good night and be well.
Great night.
Solo, be safe.
Bye, Mr. Zolo.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Thank
I
you.
would move that we adjourn the hearing at this time.
No, we've got a couple administrative matters to do if you don't
I withdraw the motion.
mind. Sorry. Okay, let me just make sure I. Okay.
Once we get off live stream, I have one quick comment. So.
Okay. Mr. Sarah,
I'm just getting the.
I'm just getting older.
I'm just getting the people out of the panel over to attendees. Sometimes the applicants stay in. It was a night of a lot of sweeping people back and forth.
Nice.
Yeah.
You do it well, Mary. You do it well. You should get a
I'm
raise.
glad to know you're watching the attendee panel. That's helpful, actually.
Outstanding.
Yeah, when people register and re-register, they kind of come in several times, and then I have no
Yeah.
choice but to move them in.
That's tough.
It's a little messy because then I ended up renaming some people the wrong names. Okay. Okay, first, we have an application that was heard prior to COVID. The applicant asked for a waiver of their 62-day requirement, you'll recall, and submitted a letter seeking to reopen the hearing. They believe that the testimony at the February hearing was that the board believed that they were asking for 3 additional new reliefs that were not part of the application in 2013 when we heard it. They're asking to reopen. They argued that they were on the plan, but they weren't in the call of the meeting. They always needed them. We addressed that a couple of weeks ago. The board voted to not reopen the hearing because we had clearly closed at the end of the hearing in February of 2020. So
So we need to deny the application now.
we, upon discussion, I believe it was the board's opinion, and Will can help me out on this, but that the board could re-grant only what was granted in by the time it got granted, it was 2014, but it was a 2013.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so it would be application number 168-20, Joseph Guadagno, and this is on Vanderbilt Boulevard in Oakdale. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated October 27, 2020, the application is denied as submitted. However, the board grants the area variance relief it previously granted for the subject parcel in ZBA application number 663-13. Is there a motion on that?
I'll
Motion.
make the second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And then we have 2 also really older cases that were heard in February, and they were permission to leave structures that I believe the board was not amenable to approving. I'm sorry, one is that circumstance. It was permission to leave a 1-story addition in the side yard of a dwelling, having 3.3 feet instead of 14, and that's in Brentwood. So that is application number 104-20, Theodore and Claire Cole. In accordance with a proposed written decision dated October 27, 2020, the application is denied. On motion of?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One last one. This was heard in May. It was for an in-ground pool in Sayville with a very shallow rear yard. Unfortunately, they could only ask for 8 feet instead of the required 14, and the decision reserved that way without any proposed amendment.
Who was their
Application
representative?
number 304. It's 8 instead of the required 14, and
There's no way that they can give us,
they call every week and see if the board has approved the application yet, and they just have not.
Okay. Good enough, thank you.
The application was presented by Peter Booth of Dunwoody Pools.
Just want a clear conscience.
Yep. It's in Sayville. Application number 304-20, Thomas and Maureen Mackey. In accordance with a proposed written decision dated October 27, 2020, the application for a rear yard setback of 8 feet instead of 14 feet is denied. However, the pool patio request for 3 feet instead of 6 feet would be granted if the pool were to conform. On motion of? Sayville?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have 1 renew and transfer. Again, that's a public session item of an accessory apartment. It's 628-20. That application is in Brentwood. Is there a motion to approve that renewal for a period of 3 years?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we have 4 simple accessory apartment renewals, public session items. Neighbors have been notified, no objection. They are applications number 629 through 633.
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Now I'll make a motion to adjourn. Tom?
I'm giving you
Second.
off on election day, okay?
Thanks.
All in
Well,
favor?
thank you.
Aye.